Welcome to Fox News.
Your mama is Tucker Carlson. What the
It's
fuck?
just preposterous.
What the fuck? Working Class Framing. This is your host Sweaty, and I'm here with my co-host.
Austin Cummings.
And this is our monthly recap of the month of June. We want to do this episode at the top of every month where, well, this is not the top of the month of June. This is July. But we're
Yes.
recapping June. This episode is going to contain 3 recommendations from us, a little recap of our month, as well as pitch it to each other. So Austin will have recommended me a movie.
Yes.
I will have recommended him a cinematic masterpiece, unlike him.
And
And
we
we'll
dissect it.
we'll be able to pitch it to each other.
Because he sends me gold always.
Yes, I am super excited
Yeah.
for you guys to hear my recommendation. to
Yeah.
Austin
I
this
hope
month.
you're all going to find this so fucking funny.
To start off our episode, we're going to go into recap of the month.
Yes, sir.
Recap of the month. I do want to start this off because a lot of people probably have seen on our Instagram and our social media pages, but the first thing that we did at the top of the month of June was we hit that Criterion van,
We
baby.
did. That was
And
the very beginning.
what a experience that was, and I do want to talk about it a little
That was
bit.
paradise.
Because we got together the night before. We're gonna wake up at like 3 a.m. We woke up at 3 a.m.
We woke up at like 2:30 a.m.
Yeah, we woke
and
up
we were
2:30.
out by 3:30.
But we had like a little date night the night before.
Yeah.
We cooked up breakfast.
It was
and then,
romantic. We watched Rap World together.
Dude, yeah,
which
if
if
you
you haven't
guys have-
seen, great romantic comedy.
Yeah. Dude, I'm just remembering the parts that include
Yeah.
romance.
Shout out to Toby Hanna, Pennsylvania.
It's incredible. If you have not seen Rap World, it was a movie that released on YouTube last year with Connor O'Malley,
O'Malley.
who's actually in Friendship with
Friendship.
Paul Rudd and Tim Robinson. Fantastic comedy.
Fucking
It's
hilarious.
so good. But we watched that, and then we immediately knocked out and woke up at 2:30 in the morning, packed our shit, and we drove out to LA at 3 a.m. We made it out there at 3:45.
Stopped at a diner that was really delicious.
Well, before we got to the diner, there was a guy out there, security, watching the Criterion van because we were about to rob
Oh,
that
that's
bitch.
right.
We were
Yes,
about to-
and we basically had our egos deflated because we thought, oh, we're the first one. No one's here, and he said, "You're number 6."
Number 6 is still a fantastic
That
spot.
line is massive.
Yeah, I think it got worse the next day.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was after we got a little sticker saying or a little card saying that we were number 6. We went down to a diner, had ourselves a meal. This is like a meal we
Just
had.
delicious.
Went to this 24/7 diner, beautiful diner, and after that we returned and we watched the new Predator,
Predator
movie. Predator.
It's Killers of Killers.
Killers of
The
Killers.
new Dan Thatchenberg
Yeah,
film.
phenomenal stuff. And
Which
that-
it's crazy to me how the tables have completely rotated, and now with the Predator franchise has my intrigue more than the Alien franchise.
how the turntables.
Yeah, how the beat gets remixed.
Yeah, that was a beautiful experience. We have all our videos are up on our Instagram. You can check those out.
Yeah.
And that was the first thing we did that month. I wanted to recap that. Also, we spent this month just prepping for the podcast. We took our photos. We went for
Yeah.
some with our buddy Matt.
We did our photo shoot at my house all day for the the recreation of these stills they have in Step Brothers when they're doing like the rap video
Yeah.
stuff. And then we did an actual JCPenney shoot
Yeah.
where we recreated the poster.
Which was so much fun, guys. By the time you're
Amazing.
hearing this, you guys will have seen the posts, and
So funny.
I'm just so glad we got those out there. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We spent the month just doing that, and
Just staying productive.
yeah, and at the end of the month, we had a fantastic time. My friend Dimitri from New York. What's the city he's from?
It's funny. It's next to Buffalo, but I like to joke in my head that it's Rochester because he
Okay.
was showing me so many Rochester memes, so I just say that.
So yeah, our homie from Rochester, New
Yeah,
York.
homie from Rochester,
Dimitri,
New
and
York.
we got to see so many cool movies. We got to see the 16mm cut of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. My first time was phenomenal. Me and Dimitri, because Austin wasn't invited, we
Yeah,
went
'cause
to
I'm
the-
employed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we went to the Academy Museum, and it was such a good time. I'm going back this week, and I
I was
cannot
having
fucking
the
wait.
worst case of FOMO at work. Every time I looked at my Instagram feed, I was just like, dude, I would do anything to get my place shut down so I could be present there.
It was a blast, and then we got to see Portrait of a Lady on Fire. My first time watching it on the big screen. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. So to be able
He
to get to
loves this
experience
movie.
that in a theater, in the theater's called the Ted Mann Theater. It's in the downstairs area of the Academy Museum. And it's a gorgeous theater. The only thing is they don't allow for food or drink, only water. And I'm hoping the Academy doesn't hear this, but me and Dimitri snuck our little snacks and bevies in, and
Dude,
we were a little mischievous.
just know next time you pull up, they're gonna have your face plastered on the wall
Dude,
with warning
wanted.
signs.
Yeah, that was one of the movies we watched. Of course, we also watched 4K or Dogtooth in 4K. It was a restoration at the Los Feliz. Me and Dimitri again because us
I'm
as
employed.
us as
Just
a
to
loser.
reiterate, I'm employed.
Phenomenal screening. I thought the remaster was beautiful. highlight where we actually invited Austin again, Godzilla -1 at the Brain Dead Studios Theater, and it was my first rewatch. I absolutely adored the movie. I enjoyed it way more this time. I think it's just because I didn't have to focus on the subtitles as much, and I enjoyed the story so much more, and I even cried at the end. Another highlight was going to the Chinese theater. I got to see F1 at the Chinese theater with Dimitri, and it's a deceiving experience because I had a blast, and as soon as I walked out, I was like, yeah, the story was kind of flat. But the biggest highlight for me was watching Sorry Baby, which is one of my favorite movies of the year. It's in my number 2 spot. I've got to rewatch Sinners just to confirm if it stays there. But because I watched that and because I did a review, I got the opportunity to get a little advertising gig with A24,
Yeah.
which is
Now
is
you're
awesome.
employed.
Yeah,
That's
now I'm
great.
employed. Yeah, that's a little
I love
recap
it.
of my month. Just keeping it short, brief, and simple. Austin, can you give us a recap of your month?
Yeah, honestly, I don't. When I processed this month, there really so many things developed over this time period, but in my head, it feels like over the span of 6 months. So we started with the Criterion Van, and just to give you a bit of my side, this was honestly just like a dream, sort of like manifesting in front of me because I used to always love watching the Criterion videos of like famous directors and artists going in there, choosing from the selection. So just to get to go in there and sort of have our own moment, especially in the spirit of our podcast dropping, it just felt like a baptism.
It was like a full circle moment.
No, yeah, it felt like a baptism of this new project we've been just like developing constantly. And then after that,
The delusional part of me wants to believe we manifested that van.
no, it literally felt like
It honestly, like real shit. It did feel like manifestation. Just because,
Yeah.
for those of you guys listening, we've been putting a lot of work into this for the past 8 months.
like 8 months. We've been
And,
developing this since like late last year.
And full circle. Now you guys are listening to the podcast. This is fucking
It's here.
crazy. But the Criterion van
It's arrived.
just what an experience.
And it just felt like I don't know, as someone who loves film, and Criterion's always been a brand of really, high honor, especially with making sure film is sort of kept in an ecosystem that doesn't fade away. It just felt like a payoff, but also it felt like sort of like a reward for all this hard work, and like it almost felt poignant to me, where it was like, oh yeah, it's like you work so hard and then you have so much that you look forward to, and to finally see it sort of like tangibly exist in front of you finally is amazing. And then pretty much I went to, and then the other smaller one was I went to a protest against ICE, which was
Amazing.
it was amazing to see all the people come out and just see the working class in action. But the Dimitri week was really fun because even though I was only there half the time, I got to enjoy some special moments, like the friendship screening we had.
That was so
Godzilla
much fun.
-1 was spectacular. I mean, that movie's flawless. No notes. But then I got to enjoy on Dimitri's last day here a screening of Blade
That's
Runner with
right.
him. I went to see.
Because I'm employed.
Yeah, no, yeah. For the one day he was employed, I got to go see Blade Runner Final Cut at the Egyptian Theater, and it completely evolved my how I witness its power. I just when you have the Dolby atmosphere and then this huge screen, it's 4K uncut. It's just it was like overwhelming, and just how joyous it was. And I am now a Blade Runner fundamentalist, so that was really great. And then pretty much since then, it's just been brain recovery from consuming so much screen time.
Yeah, we watched 17 movies. Well, at least between me and Dimitri, we watched 17. I believe he watched 18 because he watched the one with you. But it was a phenomenal week. Honestly, like the top of the month was really depressing because of everything that was going on, and I'm not gonna say too much detail on here, but I definitely did some work myself. I just would rather not talk about it on the podcast, but it's still fuck ICE, and it's still free Palestine, and it's still free Sudan. And we're not free until we're all free. And I just want to make that quick little interjection because I feel like that is super important and relevant in today's society. Moving on, we do have our segment where we pitch each other a movie that we recommended. All right, so I do really want to start off this segment with my recommendation to Austin, which this movie has been a family rotation
Real
classic in my household. And I haven't watched it in a couple of years. Or that's why I think I watched it earlier this year.
So he decided to plant it on me.
Yeah, absolutely. And my recommendation to Austin this month was Open Season 2. Now pitch the movie to me.
Do you find the battle between civilization and savagery fascinating? Within this dichotomy of Animals untamed by humanity and its chains live freely, no bother. Their own internal drama, but it's honestly just part of existence. Versus the section of Animal the Kingdom that is nationalistic. They believe in ethnic cleansing, and they wish to employ an evil social hierarchy on the world of animal.
Bro, why was Fifi like Hitler?
Evil! Dude, she
Evil
could
as
have hate
fuck.
crime. No, there's a scene where a bunny is in front of an ice bin, and it's just, looking for, an ice cube because it's hot outside. Pulls up to the bunny, basically says a version of a slur, and then and threatens it with physical violence. And that's what I wanted to capture with this pitch is the really wide range of like dynamicism in the evil.
Yeah.
And the layers of the ideology versus the community.
All right, hit me with your review. What did you think about the movie?
Fucking bullshit. But you know what? It's kind of funny cuz it humbled me a little bit. I can't even disagree with you there where it was bad. But you know what? It's funny how so many animated films just have no ability to just sort of, inspire me to see them. And this, for as direct to video bargain bin, just like goop, it was. I was surprisingly entertained and consistently found myself laughing, which honestly I wasn't expecting it to do at all. I thought I was literally gonna sit there and just be begrudgingly
Rot.
enduring it. Yeah, no, I would just be slamming my head against the wall, and I wasn't. I was laughing. I
Yeah.
mean, definitely laid down, head turned sideways, just
Yeah.
ha ha ha. But it was good.
It's come to the point with that movie where I don't know if it's so funny because it's so bad, so funny because it's genuinely funny, or so funny because I have nostalgia attached to it. And it could be a combination of all those factors.
I think
honestly.
it balances that sort of totem pole pretty flawlessly, surprisingly, where it's
Yeah.
sure, I'm not gonna 90% of it is I'm laughing at it, but it'll
Sure.
occasionally muster some actual creative writing, and I'm like, oh, that joke wasn't completely awful.
Yeah.
and it kind of surprises you. Each time I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
that actually authentically made me appreciate it.
I think Open Season 2 is an enigma.
It is.
There's no
And the
reason-
cast, I was just watching it. I'm like, why the fuck? Bobby from Sopranos is in it. All these actors, and I'm just like, this is so mind bending to me that you could just get this cast for a direct to DVD animated feature in 2008.
It is absolutely insane.
That check must have been great.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Open Season 2, watch it.
I would say if you really want to indulge in the whimsy and the growth of Boog and Elliot, I think you should brace yourself and really let it, overcome you.
100%. Now, let's move on to your recommendation. What did you recommend me?
So the film I recommended you from my corner of the film table,
You're the boo-boo.
the hot stinky boo boo table, I gave him the opportunity to view Park Chan Wook's Decision to Leave.
Park Chan-wook's Decision to Leave.
Decision to Leave,
Now-
2022.
Here's my pitch, and I don't have an extensive pitch. I just have sort of a timeline.
Yeah.
Or not a timeline, but a tagline.
You just
That's
repeat
what I
the
mean.
plot
Yeah,
back to
yeah.
me?
But it's
You're
just-
scene 23, 1A.
At an hour and 23 minutes.
Yeah.
No, my pitch is sickening love story haunted by the trail of bodies left behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this movie was beautiful. It's it's not beautiful. It's hauntingly beautiful.
Yeah.
This movie follows a detective who is investigating a case that consumes him entirely to the point where he starts questioning staying in his field of work and leaving his marriage. This movie has beautiful cinematography, has amazing acting, has great camera movement. There's some stuff where the camera moves that really elevates the scene to an entirely different
Astronomical.
level. And as well as this third act had me on the edge of my seat. I mean, there's so much different emotions that I was experiencing when I was watching this third act, where I was left completely captivated by what was going on, especially the ending of this movie. And I'm not going to say exactly how it left me feeling because I do want you to watch it
Yeah.
if you are listening, because I think it is
I was
worth your
really
time.
curious to know.
Yeah, no, it left me almost speechless. And it leaves me with this feeling of is it love?
Yeah.
And I guess for some people it isn't, for some people it isn't.
What's the line between appreciation and obsession?
Yeah. That it rocked my brain, but I do think that this movie does a lot like really really well, especially with the dialogue, the way that they set up the investigation, and the way that he tears himself apart for this work, and he becomes obsessed, and he falls in love, and I do think that he falls in love more with the work that he's doing
Yeah.
and
Well,
more
that
with
was
the
my
investigation, and trying to find answers to everything, and that's why she harps on all these investigations that are left cold, and he's consumed by these cold cases that he has not been able to find, like to crack. Yeah.
Well, that was my question to you. Whereas, there's a lot of interpretations you can have with this film, but one specific angle I wanted to ask you was with the two sort of differing tonal halves of the film. I was curious how that influenced you and like what was some of the emotions you were feeling, sort of like watching it unfold naturally in front of
Yeah.
you.
I mean, I do think that, and again, guys, we are entering a little bit into spoiler territory. If you have not seen Decision to Leave, I highly
Yes.
recommend it. If you don't care,
Please
I'm
view
not.
it
I'm
ASAP.
gonna try to skirt around the spoilers here, but if you haven't seen it, highly recommend you checking it out. Now, I do think that by the end of the movie, he has become infatuated with her, and I do think that he actually does love her. I do think that he almost cares for her. Even though he's wrapped up in these cases and these deaths that are occurring, I feel like a part of him empathizes with her because he is just as obsessed with his work as she is with her line of work and what she is
yeah.
doing, right? What
Her own agenda.
her own agenda. She's just as obsessed, and I find it so interesting that she says that when she asked him, like, or not when she asked him, when she told him, like, "Oh yeah, I remember the first time you told me you love me."
Yeah.
And that line was like, because I was
When
like,
it
he never
reveals.
said that shit, but he did in his own way. That's why I think this movie is so. It has multiple layers, and
Yeah.
it's
requires multiple rewatches.
yeah. Even as I'm talking about it right now, I feel like I still don't have enough words and enough to say about it because I want to rewatch it again. I want to experience everything to get even more concepts and themes from the movie. But I do think that by the end of the movie, he is in love with her, at least in a way that he cares about her and he wants to see her be okay. Even
And it's tragic in that Park Chan Wook fashion.
man,
Perfectly.
Yeah.
And it's funny, a great point I was thinking with this film was, all his films are devastating, but I find it funny that the one that really chiseled a dent in my heart is the one with his least amount of violence. It's because it's like Old Boy, Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, Thirst. All these films have, even though they are emotionally palpable and filled with substance, there's always that aspect of splatter too, which makes it fun. But this one is just there's something that how it cuts into the soul that by the end of it, I always just feel like sort of like the imagery in the film, a crashing tide kind
yeah,
of.
yeah, I agree. If you have not seen Decision to Leave, I recommend it. I think there was a phenomenal recommendation on your part.
Thank you.
Austin
Thank you.
has
Thank
Austin
you.
has like the movie library
I
stocked up
try.
in his brain. It's fucking ridiculous.
I try, and he assaults my senses.
I can't wait for you guys to hear my recommendation for next month, and I'm excited to see what Austin
Yeah.
recommends me for the next month. Like,
I'm making the playing field even. I'm going to terrify him.
now we're gonna move on to our next section, which is our 3 recommendations for the month.
My 3 recommendations today start with Crash, 1996 by David Cronenberg. Body horror classic, very philosophical story that's extremely controversial. And even though I wouldn't even say it's his most violent with like outright gore, the themes of it are really sinister and uncomfortable. And I think it'll provoke a reaction of you. And I love how it's a very provocative film that sort of inspires a lot of people to get out of their comfort zone and give their, real opinion of. My second film would be Quieten, 1964 by Masaki Kobayashi, who also did Harakiri. And there's another film I'm forgetting right at this point, but this and Harakiri specifically are 2 of my all-time, like, almost biblical standard level films, where Quieten in specifics is a ghost story split with 4 individual stories. Each one has its own, themes, its own weight with its, ethics, morality, the ghosts, because it's a horror film. And I just think the way it's visually grand and stunning, but the stories are so personal and intimate. it's a really intoxicating combination. And I think, as you've been getting deeper into classic cinema, especially Japanese cinema, I think you would truly appreciate it. And my final one, and it's hilarious because we might actually be going to a screening of this now, is Vengeance is Mine, 1979 by Shohei Imamura. Probably the coldest thriller about a serial killer I've ever watched, and it's based on a real person, which makes watching it even more macabre because this is a real person doing this. And Ken Ogata, who of Mishima fame, eventually he was the one who played the author in Mishima, a life in 4 chapters by Paul Schrader. This film is just really scary. It's super psychological, and the way it portrays this just beast, this hollow void of a human operating amongst normal people, and the way he slips in and out of the crowd, and he just manipulates and murders when he has to. It's really, really ghoulish stuff, and I think it's just so well directed. It's intense. There's no easy answers. Beautifully shot. It's reminiscent of like 70s Japan with all the cars and clothing. Just a fantastic thriller, and I think you would really love it. Really shocking.
Fantastic 3 recommendations. I'm gonna give y'all my 3 recommendations. My first recommendation is Alfred Hitchcock's. Whoa, hold on.
Alfred Hitchcock.
Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window, 1954. Now we got the
Okay.
pleasure of watching that at the Egyptian Theater in 35 millimeter.
Yes,
But this
sir.
movie, it's a great movie to start off if you're trying to venture into watching older cinema. I do think that it has
It's a good template.
it's got a great story that grips you up until the very last scene of this movie. Also, the dialogue between the characters feels so natural and it feels timeless. There's even a joke in here where he's asked a question, the main character in the wheelchair, I'm forgetting his name, and he responds in a witty way by saying no comment. And I chuckled so loud because I was thinking like, damn, this is shit that we still say. Also, the fact that they shot this in one location, it's really hard to pull it off if you don't have a good story, if you don't have good actors, if you don't have good lighting. So much relies on everything else because you are not being ventured into other aspects or other places of this world. And I think the fact that they pulled it off in one location makes this movie stand amongst the greats. I absolutely adore Rear Window.
Timeless.
I saw this movie when I was in high school and rewatching it again just a couple of weeks ago it solidified its place in my brain where I think like, yeah, this movie is perfect for me. My second recommendation is going to be Gregor Rocky's 1997 Nowhere. I still can't get over the description you gave me of this movie and his movies. Saying Gregor Rocky movies is like basically hyper pop in movie form.
Absolutely.
And I fully agree. Nowhere has so much beautiful colors, and seeing the 4K restoration of the movie as my first watch only made everything pop up even more. I love the locations of every scene in this movie. The dialogue is cringe, but it works. It works. The movie's very camp. There's there's gore, there's sexuality, there's sensuality,
Drug abuse.
and there's so much to love about this movie. I was just having a good time, and of course the lizard guy popping up was
Yeah.
such a funny,
The
and great
intentional
addition.
cheese.
It's great. I think it's a phenomenal movie. It's campy, silly, bloody. If you have not
Beautiful
seen
to
Nowhere,
watch on Criterion.
yes, go and watch Nowhere, 1997, Gregor Rocky. And my third recommendation is Dogtooth, 2009. We got to see the restoration, as I mentioned earlier, at the Los Feliz Theater, and this movie deals with a lot of themes that I relate heavy to, especially the control of information and the control of intimacy. And, if you grew up in a religious household or with overprotective parents, I feel like you can relate to a lot of what goes on in this movie. And it is dark and just haunting in its own way. And you wouldn't understand until you're actually watching this movie. Also, trigger warning, if you don't like seeing animals killed on screen, I would maybe skip out on this movie, as an animal does die in this movie. But I think that the themes and the message that the movie is saying is so incredibly relevant to me, and I think it still stands as a testament to today. And I do think that it talks about fascism and the rise of conservatism and just going back to tradition and maintaining that control over people so that they don't express themselves in whatever way that they want. And that's why even that last scene that we get when they're dancing, the two sisters, I feel like that scene impacted me the most because it was her way of lashing out and expressing her rage through a form of art, which her way of expressing that through art was dancing, and I thought that was beautiful. Dogtooth, 2009, Yorgos Lanthimos. Can't recommend that movie enough.
Shout out Greek directors.
Yeah, this has been our recap of the month of June. And you're probably listening to this. This is being released in July.
Yeah.
But we're going to do this every month, guys. We're going to give you guys 3 recommendations, our Pitch It series, and just a little recap of what we've done in the month.
You'll get to see our taste on display.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I
Yeah.
opened season 2, a cinematic masterpiece.
I know 3 is coming, so
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 3 is out. yeah. I might
know.
make you watch all the movies.
It's gonna be on my
honestly.
screen soon enough.
Yeah. But yeah, we got more reviews coming out in the month.
July, August. We're gonna be having a bit more of a consistent pace.
Yeah, absolutely, and I can't wait for you guys to hear the rest of our episodes. Thank
And
you
I'm
guys for
proud of
tuning
you.
in. I'm proud of you. It is Working Class Raymond. I'm your host, Sway, with my co-host
Austin.
Cummings, and this is Working Class Raymond. We got you on the next
Yeah.
one. Peace.
Sayonara.
Class Radio.